It's a love and hate relationship with solar. You're listening to Home Sellers Advantage. I'm your host, Aaron Zapata.
And I'm your other host, Todd Anderson. We are the Bald Brothers team at Impact Realty Group with Real Broker, and we are here to give you the Home Sellers Advantage.
You can find us online at www.baldbrothers.tv. Again, that's baldbrothers.tv.
Or you can call us at 833-305-BALD. That's 833-305-2253. Solar. It's a love-hate relationship.
You know, I like the sunlight, but you can't look at it because it'll burn your eyes out. We're talking about solar panels today, and we have, of all of the things, there are really two things in a real estate transaction that cause us to really pull our hair out. And we're the Bald Brothers team, so we don't have a lot of hair.
You pull your hair. You've got more hair than I do.
I do, but you shave your hair. Yeah, he shaves bald. I don't.
Yeah, I pluck my eyebrows out.
Oh, thanks, Todd. Yeah, TMI over here at the Bald Brothers team. We're just going to tell you like it is, okay?
That's right.
There's two things that come down to a real estate transaction like pins and needles. One is insurance, and the other is solar. And so we wanted to dive deep into solar. We've had a lot of solar issues, solar flares, if you want to call them, that have caused some headache in our transactions. And as you are thinking about or maybe already have solar installed on your home, we want to give you the inside scoop from all of our transactions where these things rear their ugly heads all the time.
I think what everybody wants to know right now. Hey, I'm going to sell my home. Should I put solar on right now? Right before selling my home. It'll make it easier to sell.
Okay, that's a hard no. Hard no.
It's a hard no, but we're going to unpack it a little bit. We're going to give a little bit more reason why it's a hard no. Does that mean solar is bad? No, this is not
also a hard no.
This is not an episode where we are saying solar is bad. Solar is wonderful, and it can save you money, operationally in the home. It can improve your lifestyle. But when it comes to adding value to the home, not necessarily. So we're going to talk through some of the issues, different types of solar contracts, and how they rear themselves in an actual transaction when it comes to purchasing or selling your home.
That's right. Now, I have solar on my house. I love my low electricity bill. So we're going to talk about the different kinds of solar contracts, and then we're going to talk about how that affects a buyer in qualifying for a home. And then we're also going to talk about the obstacles and the heartache that it creates in selling a home, because it's important to know all of these things as you think about solar. Now, oddly enough, we tend to get a lot of clients who want to sell their home, and they have had solar on for about 2.5 years. It seems like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like 2.5 years.
Like they've just got it.
Yeah, when did you install? Oh, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And that is like, well, how long do you have left on your agreement? Oh, 22 years.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah, right.
20 years left.
So let's talk about the different types of solar. There's really 3 kinds of solar agreements.
Yeah, the simplest one that is really easy to understand is the purchase contract, where you actually, over a period of time, however long the contract is, you are paying off those solar panels.
Right.
And at the end of the payoff period, you completely own them free and clear.
Well, and that's important to note that when you enter into a purchase agreement, you're actually buying the panels. You're just paying them off. So it's like a car.
Yeah.
Like you buy the car, you have a car loan that you put onto the car, and you pay it off over time. So it's not a lease, it's a purchase.
Yeah, and if something goes wrong with those, you are you own it. So it's your responsibility to repair them, and all of the costs that are associated with it.
Now, there is a warranty. You got to say there is a warranty, manufacturer warranty. So a lot of those costs would be covered by warranty.
Yep.
So that's the first one. And you do get a reduced rate on your electricity bill because you have what's called typically net metering. And that is, if your normal usage is, let's say, 1,000 kilowatts and your system now produces 980 kilowatts, you will be billed for 20 kilowatts.
Yeah.
Because it's just taken off, and then you pay the net. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of them have what are called true up bills, where you have more solar panels than you actually need or consume. And so let's say you use 1,000, but your home produces 1,500. Well, that credit, the 500, goes back to the electric company and get offsets some bills. And so some of them, there's lots of different ways to arrange these.
It can be very confusing.
It can be. And rather than going down that rabbit hole, because your situation is probably going to be different than everybody else's on your street.
Yeah, this is not the episode to come and learn all about solar. We really want to focus more on the types of contracts and how it affects real estate.
Absolutely. So the second one
is also makes pretty good sense. It's a lease. You can purchase a car or you can lease a car. Same thing with solar panels. You can purchase it or you can lease it with a lease contract. Similarly, you've got these are not like 3-5 year contracts. These are long contracts. And so a lease is like it sounds. You do not own the equipment, but you are renting it basically for that period of time.
And then at the end of your lease period, you do have typically a buyout option.
That's
where
right.
you can purchase the balance that is due. Like they'll do a market analysis of what solar panels are worth when they're 20 years old, and let's say it's $2,500. You can write a check, and then you own them.
And think of it very similar to a vehicle. At the end of your lease agreement, you can buy out the lease. So this is just typically a longer extended period of time.
Just don't try to get on your house and drive your solar panels.
That's right.
Okay. So those are the first two options, the purchase agreement, and then there is the lease agreement, and then there is the power purchase agreement, or called a PPA.
And this one's a little bit more complicated. So it's kind of like a lease and kind of not. So why don't you explain how that works?
So the reason some people choose a power purchase agreement basically is because there's very little, if no money up front from you at all. And another company basically comes and puts solar panels on your roof, and then you agree to buy the power from them instead of Edison or your power company. And when that happens is they basically are going to make a lot of energy from those panels. They're going to sell it to you at a reduced rate. And then any excess that they produce that you don't use, they get to keep and they get to resell it elsewhere. So the reason people choose this option if they go this way is typically it's no money up front. There's also typically a clause in this arrangement that says if you move, you can literally ask that company to take the solar panels from one home and put them on another. And so you can take them with you. And because the agreement's technically yours. So now, if you purchase your solar panels, you can do the same thing. You can take them off and take them with you, right? So those are the three main kinds. Now, they all involve a contract and they all involve a payment. So before we talk about the contract, let's talk about the payments and how that affects the buyers buying a property.
Yeah, so it's kind of counterintuitive because you think of the fact that if you've got solar panels, you are reducing your overall monthly power expenditures. And so that's a good thing, which is a great thing. But when it comes to qualifying for a mortgage, for a loan, the lender is going to have to take into account what those payments are for all three of them. Right? I mean, whether you are purchasing it, leasing it, basically what happens when a buyer comes in is they transfer those solar panels from the previous owner to the new owner. And that all has to be part of the loan process. That has to be approved. That goes through underwriting. It's considered as an additional factor that goes into qualifying for the loan.
Yeah, so if you have a $250 lease payment or a loan payment, doesn't matter which it is, and it's not going to be paid off. Okay, so the leases are typically not going to be paid off, although there's that option.
Yes, there is. You can buy it out.
But depending on how the owner financed the purchase option, if it was as a part of a HELOC or it's attached to the house as a lien, a lot of times that will get wiped away. And so if indeed the payment is going away, then it's not going to have a negative effect on the buyer. But that's not the case nowadays in most situations. So we have to account for this payment. Now, you would think logically, well, these people have an electric payment before, like when they buy this house, it's not like they're going to go electricity free.
Yeah, and that's the counterintuitive part.
Right, it is.
Because
they could spend $250 to $500 a month for electricity.
That's right.
But now that we have a contract in place where this money is going to be spent regardless, Now the underwriters on the loan qualifying ratios have to take that dollar amount into consideration when qualifying the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And it can disqualify your buyer.
Yeah.
It's like your buyer going out and qualifying for a home, and then they decide to buy a new car in the midst of the escrow.
And that changes all of the ratios.
It does. And that extra car payment is a hit to their income, which limits their buying ability.
That's right.
So that's the same situation you find yourself in when you're taking on a mortgage payment, a house payment plus a solar payment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important when you're home shopping. I know this is for sellers, but if you're a buyer listening to this and you're like, oh, this is interesting. It's important when you're home shopping is to know and find out early in the process how much the solar lease or payment is and if it's going to continue after the close of escrow.
Yeah. And that is something also for you as sellers that you need to take into account as well, knowing that when it comes time to sell your home, it is going to be something that has to be considered for every single buyer, assuming they are a buyer coming in with a loan. Obviously, if it's a cash buyer, that's not a big deal. They don't have to qualify for a loan, so it's not an issue. And so the question is, how easy is it for us to sell a home that has solar? Well, the answer is we are finding more and more, almost every transaction we do has solar involved in it. Right. So it's becoming much more of a commonplace thing. However, it does require some additional steps in the escrow process, and the solar transfer can sometimes take time. And so we do recommend that if you are going to sell your home, the very first thing you do once you open escrow is you want to get that solar transfer paperwork started immediately, because it will take time. The solar company is not like the title company and all the other companies associated with escrow. They're just anxious to get this through so we can find it to closing. It really doesn't matter to them.
It doesn't.
So
what happens is the seller typically initiates a solar agreement transfer, and they have to go into the portal wherever they're getting their energy from or whatever the agreement is for. Like a big one here in Southern California is Sunnova, right? Or you might have Sunrun or Tesla or whatever it is. And you got to go in there and you have to put in the buyer's name. You have to put the buyer's information in there, and then they get an email, and everybody has to DocuSign the fact that this agreement is going to be transferred. And then the buyer's credit actually gets run by the solar company to make sure that this person has good credit. And so if they get rejected, well, they're going to get rejected from the loan anyways, right? They're probably not the right buyer for you. But there's an additional credit check there where they want to make sure that these buyers. So your buyer technically has to qualify for the payment from the solar company. Then they also have to incorporate that into their mortgage payment. Yeah. And so that process has to be completed prior to the close of escrow. And it has to be completed prior to really loan docs being issued, because it's a condition of the loan. It's a condition for the loan.
And just to be clear, the solar transfer, we're talking about all three of those, whether it's a purchase, a lease, or a PPA or power purchase agreement. All three of those would be a solar transfer if it's transferring to the new owner. And it's going to be the same process. It's going to be it's going to be an issue that needs to go through underwriting, regardless of what type of ownership or lease it is.
And to add complexity to the situation, if you have solar from a company that's no longer in business, that contract has been bought by somebody.
That's right.
And so sometimes contracts have to be recreated or whatever, and it just can add complexity.
Yeah.
And therein lies what we are finding on a regular basis. Is solar is great for the homeowner, and then it lowers your electricity bills.
Yes.
If you have a battery, backup battery or power wall, it also stores power, and it's great for these brownouts here in Southern California.
Yep.
And it's also great for the initial evening hours after the sun goes down, because your solar panels aren't producing anymore. And that's when the power is the most expensive.
Yeah, it is.
In Southern California is from like 4 to 9. And so if you can have power saved and stored and used during those hours, like it can literally offset your
significantly
bill.
So it's a wonderful thing.
It is. And in that regard, buyers are more open to it than ever before. But buyers don't like additional payments.
And it does not. A lot of times sellers will think, well, if I have solar panels, it's going to add to the value of the home. And that's just not the case.
Yeah. So if it costs you $50,000 for a new solar system on your house, don't expect to get $50,000 more.
It improves the experience of owning the home.
It does.
But there's a lot of things that we do in the home that improves our experience, but doesn't necessarily add to the value. Some of how we choose to decorate or the types of finishes that we have. Various things might improve our enjoyability of the home, but not necessarily add to the value.
That's right. One last thing before we sign off here, and that is the condition of your roof.
Oh, that's a big one, yeah.
Also has to be taken into consideration for your solar. We have seen brand new panels put on very old roofs, and that should not be allowed. I'm not sure why it happens, but it's not a good thing. And if you have to redo your roof, then there's additional expense to take those panels off.
Oftentimes you got to get a permit. A permit to remove and put the panels back on. It can be a little bit of a headache.
It definitely adds headache.
Something else that you should know is that the the incentive.
Oh yes, that's right.
Is going away. The tax incentive.
The federal tax incentive of 30%. I'm not sure how it's calculated, but in the big beautiful bill that was just passed, it is going away at the end of this year. So, and that means your system has to be approved, permitted, and installed by December 31st.
Prior to
in order to take advantage of that. Yeah,
that's right.
And also one last thing. I guess we have more than one last thing here, but
we're lying to you,
right? They call it right now like electricity 3.0 or contract 3.0. If you are signing up for solar, in the past, like if you had surplus, the electricity companies would actually pay you pretty good amount of money. And then they're like, wait a minute, we're paying too much for power from people's rooftops. And so 2.0, they lowered that amount that they're paying homeowners for the excess that they take back to the grid.
So brought it down, yeah.
And now 3.0, it's even worse. Like it's really like next to nothing. No. So what we're finding nowadays is that buyers that are installing solar now, rather than putting energy back to the grid, they're investing in batteries so that they have backup power to power during those evening hours. Yeah. Because the amount that they're crediting you is it's like pennies. Yeah. Pennies. So you might have questions on solar. More importantly, if you are selling a home and you have solar, we want to, of course, talk to you about that. And because we do this all the time, we've been through many solar situations, many solar flares, and we have survived. Yep.
And getting back to what I said at the very beginning, if you're planning on selling your home, don't install solar because you think it's going to help the transaction. Install solar because you want to enjoy the solar. But as far as making it a better transaction, no, that's not going to be the case.
And that's where we're ended. So if you found this helpful, we would love for you to like and subscribe. Share it with somebody that you love. Share it with somebody that needs this information. Share it with your friend who's about ready to pull the trigger on solar and you know they're going to be selling. Have them give us a call before they make that decision so we can advise them accordingly. Or just forward them this video and say, call these guys because they seem like they know what they're talking about.
That's right.
Do we know what we're talking about?
I sure hope so.
Oh, I think we do. All right. Hey, God bless.
At least we do a good job pretending.
Well, that's not good. All right. Hey, well, God bless you guys. Thanks for watching our show, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to the Home Seller's Advantage. The Bald Brothers team is a licensed DBA of Real Broker, licensed by the California Department of Real Estate, number 02022-092. Again, we do not give any real estate, legal, or financial advice. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can call us at 833-305-BALD, or you can reach us online at baldbrothers.tv. Equal housing opportunity.